Okay, everyone. So we're going to review some more stupidity from the fake graces. They call themselves free graces, but I'm not going to call them that. They are fake graces and antinomians. Praise is a leading member of this community, and Charles within our broader network. The people that tend to visit my channel are well aware of these scum. So let's listen to something that happened recently on Praise's stream. They were reviewing a debate between Dr. Michael Brown and Corey Minor about OSAS, and somehow this other topic comes up.
It's present tense. Has no present tense. Sin.
So let's go back.
Doesn't make a practice of sin, and they mean it doesn't sin.
You know that, Olive.
Well,
that
yes,
verse?
but I like how he put it.
So they say that chapter 3, verse 6.
So we're talking about 1 John 3:6. And some people want to translate that as that which is born of God does not practice sin. And so the fake gracer uses that interpretation to try and then backload it into chapter 1. And Eli gets the verse wrong, but let's listen to him.
They say it means that he who is born of God doesn't make a practice of sin, and they mean he doesn't sin continually. They say that because of the present tense. The problem is the present tense also appears in chapter 1:9, where it says, he who says he has no continually, like in the Greek it's present tense, has no present tense, sin, he is a liar. So if you say you don't have a sin continually...
Now, he's right that there's a present tense, but it's a completely different verb. Let's go and examine what the verse actually says. And by the way, I reject the interpretation, that which is born of God does not practice sin. So that's two mistakes that I believe Eli is making. But okay, if you want to say that it means practice sin in verse 6 of chapter 3, that's got nothing to do with chapter 1. And what he actually means is verse 8. We cannot say that we do not have sin. Completely different verb. Sin is the verb in 3:6. Have is the verb in 1:8. Let me show you. This is a particularly egregious error to make. And the fact that Praise doesn't even bother to check because it lines up with his current theology of fake grace, his antinomian, anti-lordship position. Jesus is not Lord. How dare Jesus be Lord? Let's go to 3:6 first of all. And let's examine the Greek. Actually, it's verse 9. So 1 John 3:9. So he doesn't get that one right, and he doesn't get it right in chapter 1 either. Imbecile. Whosoever is born of God doth not commit sin. That's a more plain reading than the modern reading that you'll find in many translations, does not practice sin. Yes, it's present tense, but present tense doesn't necessarily mean an ongoing. It's just present tense, does not commit sin. Now, what is born of God in us? I interpret this verse differently than many other people, but I have yet to see someone show me how my interpretation is wrong. That which is born of God. Do we have a new body born of God? Not here on this earth, we don't. We still have the old body. Do we have a new soul born of God? No. Our mind needs to be renewed. We have a new spirit, but we still have the sinful nature. We still have the flesh plaguing us. So our whole being is not born of God, so we still commit sin. In the rest of our being that is not born of God, we still commit sin. That's a much more simple and plain way to understand this verse, a much more obvious interpretation of the verse. But okay, you want to interpret the verse as those who practice sin. Okay, where are they getting that from? Let's go through the Greek for this. and wait for it to load. So all the generating out of the God sin not to make or to hold. No, sorry. Hold is in chapter 1. Sorry, do not make sin. Sorry, I was wrong earlier. It's a different verb still, though. This here is make sin, but it's in the present active indicative, third singular. So he's right that it's present, but it's a different verb. But sure, let's ignore that it's a different verb and pretend that it means exactly the same thing here. So, okay, it could mean to practice sin here because it's in the present active. To keep sinning. Let's go back to chapter 1 now. John chapter 1, and he got the verse wrong again, but let's get the right verse this time. John 1:8 is the correct verse for this. There's 7, and here is 8. In the case that, this is a conditional. So if you say, if we say that sin not to hold, it's a different verb. The other one is poeo, to make or to do. This one is to hold, εχομεν. Completely different verb. So he wants to pretend that it's the same verb. All he looks at is the tense. Oh, it's in the same tense. Therefore, it has the same meaning. It's a different verb. To do doesn't mean to hold. And this is not talking about that which is born of God. Are we totally born of God? No, we are not totally born of God. We are a mixed being, some of which still holds sin and so can commit sin, and some of which is born of God and so cannot commit sin and doesn't hold sin. And it is the height of lunacy for praise to ignore this. Completely, oh yeah, that's a good point. Oh wow, yeah, and they're all praising him. Oh wow, well done. They don't bother checking. Bereanism is completely missing from Praise IM's channel, but we've known that for a few years now. He couldn't care less about studying the truth. He'll lie so long as it's something that he wants to believe. He won't examine and see, oh, is that correct? No. No. He'll lie about the positions that he doesn't hold, and he'll lie about his own position. And he does not study scripture. He hates studying scripture, except to lie about it. He would rather study philosophy, humanistic philosophy. It's quite pathetic. Praise, you have been rebuked again. Eli, you're a moron. And Olive, you're just as bad. Oh, I like them, Dave. Yeah, because your flesh loves this garbage. You don't have the Spirit of God. You're not interested in what God has to say. Heretic.